Besides actually like acting.
Well, that's the easiest thing. I mean, it's so much easier to let loose in the booth than it is on camera, you know, because all you got to do is worry about how you sound, and yeah, that's part of what I love about it, you know.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were. It's true.
In regards to
Wendy,
what
bad.
do you have your artwork to look at, the cartoon to look at as you're going, or you just doing dialogue and then just hoping it matches what they have?
Well, they're generally animating to what you've already voiced, so you don't have to match anything unless you're doing ADR. So
Yeah, so we lay down the voice tracks first, and then they ship it off and animate to us, and then we might go back in months later, and after they've got the general animation in, we'll go and do kind of some pickup lines here and there, and have to sync it up to the mouth flaps, but it's fun because we just can go in there and be crazy, and then send it off to get animated. Yeah.
And I was just curious, Kari, or Kari, I'm so sorry.
No problem. It happens all the time. You're dead to me. Like, yeah, totally.
I was curious.
Yeah. Well, Justin and I actually worked on another cartoon together, and so when he was putting together this project, he kind of thought of me for one of the parts, so I auditioned for it and luckily got it, and then it's been really cool because he's called me in to do a lot of just miscellaneous female voices, so if there's an old woman in the episode, or if there's a space dominatrix or something. I could be making that up, but he's like, come do this one. So it's actually been a very fun project for me to just play, do a lot of different things.
But you always play the space dominatrix. I mean, you've done that in like so many different series.
Yes, I get typecast.
You do.
Just like everybody else.
You're great at it.
So for people who are absolutely new for the Rick and Morty, how would you guys describe how your characters, like their dynamic?
I don't know if I have a lot going on with Jessica as much, but you play my dad, Jerry.
Our father.
And we didn't have that much either. But I got with like characters of Rick and Morty. I've had a significant amount of time with Rick. I think that's the great stuff that you get to explore as a season goes on. You kind of like my character got definitely much more developed towards the middle of this 10 episodes. Because I was kind of just like the benign teenage girl that, is just like really frustrated and distraught about everything. And then I kind of like had more of a voice. And so now, with Rick, I like stand up to him more than Morty does. You guys have seen any of it yet? Okay. Well, when you see it, you'll understand what I'm saying. It'll make a lot of sense. Yeah, typical. Oh, yeah, it is so dramatic. Like, I think every teenage girl is kind of like that, and I'm a little nerdy too, so it's great. I love it. It's a really good character. And yes,
I am the love object of Morty and the target of his inappropriate fantasies. I had to audition for that. And there is a great story about that audition, because there was one line on the audition that just says, general moaning and pleasurable sounds. And so I'm recording it in my house, and we're recording this, so I can't really do it. The guy's like, go, roll it. It's just, you're just in there like, oh. I got that job, man. I booked it. So, yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
I end up making a lot of those sounds when we're recording, even though they don't want me to. But I'm like, let me just do a little moaning here and see if you can fit it in or something.
General moaning.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's beautiful. I got a lot going on.
So really, there's a lot to look forward to.
Yes. If that doesn't make you want to watch,
we have some great episodes. I mean, we had an episode called Sex Robot, and every time I get the scripts, right? Like every time we would get a script, I'd be like, these guys, they're geniuses, and you can get away with so much more in a cartoon than you can in a scripted, like on-camera show. So it's just so much. It's just so wild to be able to like just go one step further in a comedic capacity.
Interesting audition. A little bit of moaning, a little bit of groaning.
Oh.
What's the best? What inspired you?
Okay. I've known Kari for a while because we were on fish hooks together, and we had a scene where the character is sort of being very sexually aggressive. It's the crush, the hot girl at school. You know, the whole, you know, the protagonist's in love with this girl he can never get, the unattainable girl, and he has a dream sequence. And in the dream sequence, the Jessica character, the hot girl, is really coming on strong, and she's just ripping her top open, and she's like, you know, just shuffle my. What does she say? Like shuffle him. Move him around, beat him up, knock him around, slap him. And Morty's just like, okay, are you sure? You know, he's just all. But anyways, the point is that, you know, and then once he starts, it's very like, you know, sexual and moaning, and that was something we had to make that poor woman do, poor Kari, and she
Part
did
of
it.
the job.
She did it perfectly. Oh, are you serious? Yeah, she's pretty good at that. You know, it was there was a moment of looking around in the record at all the guys in the room, and we were all sort of like, "Whew, all right, shake it off. It's just a cartoon character." Yeah, she's awesome though, man. I mean, she's not just that character. She's so many voices across the season. I mean, it's ridiculous. She's very versatile. I think she might be in every episode almost.
What kind of like started how did you get the idea?
Harmon called me up one day and just said, I'm starting an animation studio, and Mike Lazo and Adult Swim want a show from me. Lazo was a huge Community fan, and he called me. We've been friends for 10 years, and we had made things together and worked together, and all my stuff was primarily animation. So he just said, "Do you have any ideas right now?" And I had these two characters that he was familiar with, and that was the genesis of it. And then we basically took those two characters, and we took them from what they were, which was sort of very two-dimensional, kind of just me fucking around and being stupid, and we've really added oh my god, like, yeah, so much depth to the characters, and we've added a family around them as well, and we've just created this really great, simple, low-concept show that's about a family, mom, dad, sister, brother, and then there's this lunatic grandpa that moves back in after being estranged for all these years. It's the mom's father, the maternal side grandpa, and he shows up and he takes the son, the dumb son, under his wing as his sort of assistant on just the most dangerous, insane, high stakes sci-fi shenanigans across the multiverse. And you know what, one thing we haven't talked about once?
AIDS.
Yeah, and it's like, what are we gonna do to stop it?
Well, I mean,
I know
what we're gonna do to stop it. We're gonna
come up with a cure.
Yeah,
we're gonna work hard.
That's the same as any disease, but like, what is the show gonna do to help
spread
situation?
Awareness. Yeah,
because it's like you're talking about all this jibber jabber about
nonsense.
Scientists
Yeah.
and all these things, and there's an epidemic happening. So
let's tell them. We're gonna do it.
The last 3 episodes are going to be...
It's going to be there are codes in the last 3 episodes that we're hoping get to the right scientific minds. All they have to do is, play it backwards, kind of focus some spots in, and they'll have the cure.
That's what I don't understand, why no one's done that yet.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why haven't they hidden the cure in a TV show?
Honestly,
I have no
that
idea.
would be pretty awesome to see. Definitely. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but I think it would be great. I could go three-parter?
Sorry, wait, what? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I understand that the origins of the show was kind of like a riff on Back to the Future. So
Okay, yeah.
When you're doing the voices, like, to what extent are you still sort of tapping into your Doc Brown and Marty McFly?
I mean, it's so weird because the very first thing I ever did, it was me like pissing and shitting all over, Doc Brown and Marty McFly, but not in a sort of mean-spirited way. I was just having fun. I was like, oh, these are my shitty impressions of these characters, and then what happened is halfway through making that first one, I started to feel different. I was like, they started to take on a whole different, life of their own for me, and I was like, these characters mean more to me now than just my horrible impression, and ever since then I've been trying to just take those voices, remove them from the caricatures of Doc and Marty, and figure out what can I do with them that's still kind of the core essence of that, but different enough that people aren't just going to write the show off, and be like, oh, they're just ripping off Back to the Future. We've gone out of our way to not include time travel. Is that a spoiler?
No, not at all. I think time travel gets sloppy narratively.
Yeah, it's a mess.
So it's like the one thing that Rick can't do, as far as we know.
Yeah, I mean, you just you can't do that. But I mean, the voices are still. I mean, I think that they've maybe, like any voice. I mean, when you get through a full season, they start to kind of get perfected and adjusted, and certainly the characters are so much more. There's so much more behind the character now that behind both of them that it's changed the performance. From lick my balls, Morty. Morty, you have to lick my balls. Hurry. I'm like, oh, jeez, Rick. I don't know if I should lick your balls.
On Community, the Alison Brie's character on Community started as just a ripoff of Reese Witherspoon's character in Election. That's all I knew she was. I just needed somebody to play the straight-laced, uptight kind of type A personality. But then it's what happens is characters they are living things because they have lives, and you do more episodes and you just learn more about them, and they become totally. You start to go, oh, I know who this is. This is me, or this is like my uncle. Or...
All right, last question, guys. Last question.
As you're going throughout each episode, you see a clearer version of how you want to stay engaged.
We approached the season not in a serialized sense. I mean, we just went in with a bunch of different ideas, and the season's very episodic. I mean, it's super episodic, but we do happen to have some kind of overarching serialized elements. I hope I'm answering the question that was asked. I don't. Okay, yeah. But yeah. That's. I mean, every episode stands alone as its own point of entry, in my opinion. There might be one that's sort of like, going to be like a weird one to jump into, but for the most part, you could watch any episode and follow a story and know who the characters are, and that's not something that we really went out of our way to achieve. It's something we had in mind.
I consider that a really responsible thing to do with TV. I feel like that's the equivalent of putting a railing on your deck. If you're building a deck in your backyard, it's just like, do you technically need it? No, it would be a deck anyway. But it's like, if you're a good person making a good deck, you put a rail on there. And if you're making TV and you care about your audience, you kind of modularize the stories so that I look at it like it's like pearls on a necklace. They all go together and eat, but you should be able to technically watch them in any order.
Yep.
You should be able to look at each one as its own little gem, even though the whole thing can be held. And
you guys know about pearl necklaces, right?
Yeah.